This is the office of the Meher Publications that was established in 1942. Before that it was my father's house, and this was the very place Meherabad had come here and stayed with his mandali for over a month here, and then afterwards he left the place and went to Meherabad. This house has got a Baba room. This was the prayer room originally of my mother Gulmai, and Upasni Maharaj used to visit the place, and then later Baba visited the place. My mother had a great attraction for the room. Whenever she was not very in keeping with the surrounding atmosphere of the house, she used to go and sit. Yes, she used to go and sit in that room, a very peaceful atmosphere, and during the last days of her life also, most of the time she spent in that room. I will shortly show you the room. दारुगड बाबाची खोलीचे उठा तिथून उठून जा. Now I am going to Baba room. This room has a great history behind it. This room was opened up by my mother Gulbai. It was her prayer room. Upasni Maharaj used to visit the place whenever he paid a visit to Ahmednagar, and Meher Baba later on, and eventually it was called Baba room. My mother was too fond of this room. Whenever she felt rather disturbed with the atmosphere of the home, she used to retire in that room for long hours, praying to Baba all the time. And during the last days of her life, most of the time she used to spend in this room. Many a night she has slept in this room without an actual bedding. And that room was identified practically for her as Baba's room, and Baba's presence was ever felt there. It was used as a prayer room by others, including me. And the prayers that we always offered were prayers to Baba. This is the door of the room I have been talking about. This is Baba's room. And in it there are only Baba pictures, Baba statues, and Baba's presence is ever felt so strongly by anyone who gets into it. This has been so for all the number of years, ever since it was created by my mother Gulmai. And anybody who visits this place always likes to get into the room and bask under the sunshine of Baba's love, atmosphere that is there felt so strongly in the room. This is it. Atmosphere that is there felt so strongly in the room. This is it. Now I am going to the record room of my Meher Publications office. Baba had enjoined upon me to stock and look after all the copies of the correspondence and the documents and other things regarding Meher Publications, and all the correspondence that was done through me, and to a certain extent through others also, that were kept here for a number of years. It has eventually piled up into a record of nearly 43 years, and it was a task for me to look after, because the place is abounded by white ants, and with great difficulty, in whatever condition the entire record is maintained, it is there. And lately it was microfilmed by the representative of Sufism Reoriented, Brother Anis Hassan, who took all the care and at great expense came over here and microfilmed practically all the letters and all the copies of the letters that he could find in this record room of Meher Publications. Actually, it is the record of all that happened through letters when Baba was there. I tried to be as careful as possible to keep the entire records intact, and it is there. Because of the long years of wear and tear, maybe many of the files look to be so soiled. But since the microfilm has been was done, I am very happy to say that the record will ever be maintained, in spite of the fact that the actual record goes in tatters. Now, when Baba first came into this house, he showed a great liking for it, and time and again he used to bring his mandali and the students of Babajan school from Meherabad after the Meherabad was established. A few times congregations were held where people were invited for Baba's darshana. Baba was seated in my office and people used to come and take darshana and were ever so happy. In 1954, when mass darshan program had taken place at the Wadia Park in Ahmednagar, where during one day 100,000 people had visited and taken Baba's darshan, one day was really not enough for the entire Ahmednagar district people to come over and take Baba's darshan. So another small darshan program was arranged here in this very compound, where nearly 8 to 10,000 people visited and has Baba's darshan. Baba's seat was installed here, right in front of the Meher Publications office, the very room where Baba had stayed with his mandali and others before Meherabad was actually established. Now I am going to show you the small living room where I lived for a number of years. That is adjacent to my office. It has been very convenient for me to step out into the office and step into the living room at any time I wanted, as the work demanded. And it's a fairly cool and nice room. It's an old house built of mud, but very useful indeed and very practical. And now my co-worker Mr. Faram, who stays nearby, will relate his own story as to when he came here and he began helping me in Baba's work, and he also stays in a room quite nearby. Faram here. અને આદિને હું હેલ્પ કરતો હતો, બધું કોરસ્પોન્ડન્સ ટાઈપિંગ ફાઇલિંગ બધું કરતો. આ રૂમમાં રહેવું છે.
What's that, Irwin? Edward? I first came into contact with Baba in 1931. Baba kept me in Saro's Motor Works in Nasik for 3 years. Then, in 1934, for 8 months, he called me to Meherabad. During that time, the only work that I did was Baba's explanation regarding creation, about which he had an idea. to take out a film. During the 8 months, there was practically no work for me. And one day, Baba, who used to pay weekly visits to Nasik from MeherBabaLibrary, returned from Nasik in the evening and told me all of a sudden to pack my things and go back to Nasik, telling me that he had a talk with the manager of Nasik Electric Supply Company Limited, where I had to work, and he had agreed to take me up. I worked there for 11 years according to Baba's instructions. All the while, I used to cook myself once, and from the beginning, before even I met Baba, I was vegetarian. Then, because I broke an order of Baba, I had to suffer terribly. I had a heart attack in 1944. That particular date, 24 December 1944, when Adi's first wife died. Adi, Baba's brother's first wife died. And I think Masaji also, Pentu's father, Masaji also died the same year. And for 4 months I suffered very badly. I was bedridden after that attack. And then I came over to again Ahmednagar. And Baba kept me here. So in 1945, I came over to Ahmednagar. But I had a very bad collapse. So I couldn't remain here because Adi's father was suffering in that room the whole night. He had a fractured thigh. So I requested Baba that I should remain in MeherBabaLibrary. And Baba agreed. He was in Hyderabad at that time, and Baba agreed. And so, till Baba started out in new life, I was in MeherBabaLibrary for 4 years. And from there...
what made you feel that you had a heart attack due to breaking an order of Baba?
I think because I used not, Baba told me to take 3 ounces of butter daily. And because I was a vegetarian, and I used not to take milk even. So I used not to take butter even. Out in new life, I was in MeherBabaLibrary for 4 years. And from there...
what made you feel that you had a heart attack due to breaking an order of Baba?
I think because I used not, Baba told me to take 3 ounces of butter daily. And because I was a vegetarian, and I used not to take milk even. So I used not to take butter even. So, because I had no sufficient nourishment, I had to suffer. After Baba left Ahmednagar in new life, he put me in Akbar Press, where I was for 5 years, because I was not at all well. I had a nervous breakdown. From there, I went to Nasik, Mr. Minu Barucha, and where I was for 5 months. And I came back here in 1955 to work with Adi. Anything more you want to say? What more? He used to see me very rarely. Once he called me to MeherBabaLibrary after almost 3 years. He was calling, there was some congregation held. He was meeting people individually. He called me for hardly 1 minute. And he said something I don't remember. And sent me away. Because I was of delicate health.
You were what?
Delicate health. Health was not good. Due to indisposition. I have not accompanied Baba in any of his journeys or anywhere. I am only stationary, either Nasi or in Amman.
You never accompanied Baba in his
No,
journey?
no.
He always kept you in one place?
Yeah.
Chal.
So,
Yeah, now I am taking you to my mother Gulmai's room, which is adjacent to her prayer room, which we call Baba room. Number of years. It is a small room, and it is the place where she died. When she was very ill, she had become very restless, and there was a time when she had almost gone into a coma. But Baba came and met her. And the moment Baba met her, she almost revived, caressed Baba, became very happy. And Baba left her. And that was the night when she passed away. She passed away a little after midnight. I had to look after her and also my office work. The whole day I had to keep near her. And when I felt very tired, all the people of the center who were around me and around her, I took their permission and slept for half an hour. And then they woke me. And when I got up, her condition became very serious. I went near her, and in a very loud voice, she started saying, Ba, 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 Ba. She did that nearly 8 to 10 times. And with the last word, Baba, she collapsed and passed away. And I could see her face so peaceful and serene, and did really feel that Baba drew her completely into himself. Now this is the room, this is the door of the room. A small bathroom, and when she could not come out during her illness, we had to keep a commode inside and keep the entire room very clean. This is the door of the room where Gulmai lived. It is a small room. There is a small bathroom inside. And when she was ill and she couldn't come out, she could not move about much. She was so much confined to bed. We had kept a commode over there which was used, and the entire room was kept very, very clean by the women servants I had, who looked after her night and day for a number of days. There was nothing excepting Baba on her lips, in her mind, in her heart, all the time. Lips, in her mind, in her heart, all the time. She kept Baba's pictures all around her bed. And whenever we approached her, she pointed out at every picture of Baba and asked us always to remember him and keep him in our hearts. Now there is another room, a bigger room adjacent to Gulmai's room, where my father lived. When my father was ill, he was confined over there in that room for a number of months. For the last some years, this room has been occupied by my sister, Dolly, who is there. If some woman guest came along, there was another over there that was occupied by the guest. But the entire room is used by my sister, Dolly, who is unmarried and who does the household work all day long. She keeps herself very busy. She was devoted to Baba ever since she was very young, and there is nothing in her life that attracts her. She doesn't step out of the house or out of the compound of the house, doesn't go anywhere. She doesn't go to the movies, she doesn't go anywhere at all. And she is all the time occupied in doing homework and keeps herself so contented. When my mother died after midnight, she peeped into the door of the room where she passed away and quietly asked me, "Where is mother?" I said, "She's gone." "Oh, she's gone," she said. She's turned back and just retired and went and started doing her homework again without thinking so much about the death of her dear mother. She's so detached from everything all around, and inwardly she is so devoted to Baba that she never likes even to make the slightest demonstration of her love for Baba at all. People really wonder what a type of person she is, and one is likely to misunderstand her. But if it was not Baba all the time in her heart, in her life, she couldn't have remained so much aloof from the world and from the joys and sorrows of the world. I veritably say that I feel her. Now we will be going to the other side of this building, where my another sister, elder to Dolly, stays there. She's married. She lost her husband. She at present stays in Aurangabad, but she comes over so often and stays here. One wing of the entire building, a part of that wing has been kept at her disposal. Ahmednagar, she stays here. She ever loved her mother Gulmai so much, and she never likes to part with the atmosphere prevailing in this entire house, where Baba had visited so many times, and she had been a great devotee all along to Baba. In spite of all the suffering she underwent through her life, she ever remembers Baba at heart and takes things as easy as she is able to do. She doesn't keep a good health, but she always has the love for remembrance of Baba at her heart. And whenever the name of Baba is uttered, she breaks into tears and remembers him with all her love. There is nothing else in her life excepting Baba. Baba has been there all along, and I think to the end of her life there will be nothing else excepting Baba and his love. She says, you see, she has undergone tremendous suffering during her married life, and after that, after the husband died, but she ever remains contented, she says, with the love of Baba at heart. And were it not for the presence of Baba, she does not know whether she would ever have kept herself alive. She has been really poor financially. She is very poor in health. But whenever I ask her, she says, I have the richness of love of Baba in my heart all the time. And really she keeps very happy. To Dolly, her name is Piroja, and I give her a nice hug so that you take a good picture of both of us. I have talked to you about my sister who is elder to Dolly. Her name is Piroja, and I give her a nice hug so that you take a good picture of both of us. Here is the adopted son of my sister. She was very fond of looking after children, and this was one of them. Enjoined upon my sister to look after him, and she has brought him up. A little after when he was born. Now we'll go to the other room. Shall I continue? Nearby, my sister's room, of course, the whole entire wing was given over to my sister, but she shared it with the family of Kalchuri. Kalchuri, you know, has spent a number of years with Baba. He was a very close associate of Baba, and before Baba passed away, he enjoined upon him to dig into the entire records of Baba, to write an exhaustive biography in Hindi. Here is Bhau coming, and he will relate his own story.
Okay.
Here comes Bhau Kalchuri. I would like him to say a few words about himself, his association with Baba, and the duty that was given to him by Baba personally.
In fact, I don't want to say anything, but as you have asked me to say something, and Adiji has asked me to tell about the book which Baba has asked me to write. It so happened that on 24th January 1969, when Baba was on the bed, he called me there. Of course, I was a night watchman. So Baba asked me to write his life account in detail, and that too in poetry. And at the time, in Hindi, of course, and at the time Baba's condition was very bad, and when he would make some signs, he would get jerks. So when he gave me this, when he asked me to write this and he started giving me instructions, he would get jerks after jerks, and I would feel very much. I wanted to ask many things about this book, but then I thought that it would be better for me to ask Baba when he would be all right. So I just kept on listening, and I did not say anything. So he gave me full instructions within half an hour, and then of course I thought that I would ask the details afterwards, but it never happened, and now I have started this work, and for that purpose I have come here to collect the material from the records which has been kept here. This is the whole story of...
How did you meet Baba?
How did I meet Baba? Yes, of course. I was in Nagpur, I was in college, I was studying in MA Public Administration there. I was also studying law. I had no inclination about spirituality at that time. But when I was in final year in MA, all of a sudden some change took place. I don't know how. And then I lost all my interest in study and in other things. So I thought of going to some other place and contact some saints and sadgurus. At that time I had no knowledge about it. And actually I made preparation to go to Rishikesh. But it so happened that Baba came to Nagpur at that time. I did not know about him at that time. Even I did not hear his name there. So when I read in the paper, I thought it better just to go and have his darshan. But what happened that something cropped up and I had to go for that. So I thought that now I am going to Rishikesh. Why should I go to Meher Baba? Let us go and attend to that work. So I went home. And it so happened that the date which was given by Baba to reach Nagpur, it was changed and I did not know. When I came back from my home, I read again in the paper that Meher Baba is coming on such and such date. And it was really very surprising because the date was changed and I don't know how. And then afterwards when Baba came there, I went for his darshan and immediately I felt that I must join him. So with great, there was very big darshan program just near Nagpur. It was 26 miles from Nagpur. The name of the place is Sauner. I went there. There was a big crowd, very big crowd, and it was very difficult to approach Baba. And at that time, Baba would distribute prasad to every individual, and every individual would approach him. So I also went to him in a queue, and with great difficulty, of course, because the people behind me, they were pushing me. So Baba gave me prasad, and that was the end, you know. Then I thought that I must join Baba, but no interview was allowed. Then Baba went to Nagpur, and somehow I approached him, and then I expressed my wish to join him, and he allowed me. But there were 2 months for my examination, MA final, so Baba asked me to appear for the examination and then join him. So I appeared for the examination and joined him in 1953. Since then I am with him.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yes. So with great difficulty I got an interview with Baba. So then Baba asked me, what do you want? I said, I want to join you. Then Baba asked me, what are you doing? I said, I am in MA final. So Baba said, will you obey me 100%? At that time, of course, I did not know what was obedience, you know. But I said, yes, I will obey you 100%. So there was one man there. He said that, Baba, he must know what is obedience. So Baba said, he is MA and he knows better than you. So everybody laughed there. And then Baba said, all right, do one thing. You complete your course, appear for the examination, and then come to me. So, of course, I appeared for the examination and then joined him in Mussoorie, 1953.
Okay.
In 1958, when Baba was at Meherabad, and he would retire upstairs, there is one room, 2 rooms are there. So he would retire in one of the rooms, and I would keep watch near Baba for the whole night from 6 in the evening to 6:20 in the morning. So I would watch every day that there were 2 doors there in the room, one in side room, another in Baba's room. So Baba had asked me when he would get up, I had to close that room in which Baba would retire. No, I would open that door and close the door of other room. But every day, and then Baba would retire, I must close this door, the door of Baba's room, and open the door of another room. But every day, every night I would watch that Baba's, when I would go out in the morning, I would see that the door was open all the time. The door of the doors of the other room. And I was wondering why it happened like this. And then I would be more careful every day, every night, very careful. I would see that I would close that door. I would open that door. But in the morning when I would go there, the door would be always open. And and one day when I told Baba, then Baba laughed and Baba said that you don't worry about it. So that was the only thing, and I think that it is due to some spirit ghost like that. I don't know about it.
Due to what?
Due to some ghost, you know, the ghost would go there, the lantern would be there in the side room, and it is because of him that he would keep the door closed. When I would open it, he would close it.
I shall ask Bhau to take me. Both of us will go, and you will see Bhau's wife and Bhau's son and Bhau's daughter. Come along, Bhau. ऐसा हो यहाँ. चलाओ जल्दी. किधर गए वो? चलो येड़ा मारो. चल ना.
वैसे आ जाओ.
वैसे आ जा. कपड़े अपने मत पहन. This is the daughter of Bhau. Her name is Sheila. This is the son of Bhau. His name is Mehernath. And this is Bhau's wife. Her name is Rama. They all of them live, as I told you, in the part of my the wing of the house in which my sister lives. She was glad to share the house with them.
Again.
What begins? So over. Shall I repeat it?
What did Baba do? Was Baba part of the compound?
Oh yes, Baba, when he came here with the entire his retinue and people, he used to occupy the whole house. It was much later that his family came here and stayed, and Baba was happy that they stayed here together with us, and Baba always asked me to act as their father. Of course, Bhau Kalchuri is there, but he kept himself so near Baba all the time that he was hardly in his own house. It is only after Baba dropped the body that Bhau Kalchuri came and stayed here, and that he is digging into the old 45 years records to write a Hindi book in poetry, as Baba had enjoined upon him to do it.
Did Baba come into the
Oh yes, Baba has stepped into every part of the house. After the Kalchuri family came here, also Baba came here. Baba used to come and see Piroja in her house, because they are all the lovers of Baba. I'm going to take you to the trust office and to the present chairman, Miss Manija S. Irani, and I would ask her, request her to speak a few words. Manija, please come out. Come out, come out, come out. Few words, come out, my dear. Stop. અરે જવા દે મોનું એ શું ધોવાનું છે કે દિશે નહીં મોનું ધોયેલું નહીં ધોયેલું એમાં તો જેટલું મોનું છાબી હોય તો મજૂર લાગે વધારે નહીં તું મેં તો કહ્યું છે હવે. Now here is Manija S. Irani, the present chairman of the trust. You may have heard a little upheaval that had come about in the trust, and nothing happens in the world, no good happens. Now I will again go back to my office, Meher Publications, and I shall introduce to you a very old, more than 30 years, very trusted servant by name Lakshman, who has been almost a right hand to me in doing all sorts of work, right from the menial work to the packing in the office, looking after my car, keeping the office clean. And there is another boy, few years past, he has also been helping me in my work. Here is Lakshman and here is Bansi. These are the two boys who have been looking after the office work, and also they have been my personal attendant. Now, I would not be... Okay. Now, here is Lakshman. Ever since he began working in my office, he was very, very young, coming from a very poor family, and he met Baba. He saw Baba a number of times. Whenever Baba came here, he saw him, and also I used to take him to Meherabad and Meherazad whenever I went. And Baba, of course, blessed him and told him to keep helping me all along. Of course, I had to look after all his needs. He is a married man. He has got few children. Family is still poor, but he enjoys and always keeps happy to work in this office, because he knows that this office work is nothing but Baba work. The other younger fellow, he joined lately. He also takes delight in doing the work in this office, my personal work, because he knows that it is all Baba work. He had also met Baba, he had Baba's darshana a few times, and both are very, very helpful to me. Here I come back to my sister Dolly and her friend, and the one who looks after her, my servant girl, whose name is Suman. Suman was so helpful to my mother when she was ailing, when she was in bed for a number of months. And she keeps company to my sister Dolly, who is all alone in the house, ever and always. She does the entire work of the house and helps Dolly a great deal. Both of them cannot keep themselves apart, because ever since my mother was alive, they were together, and they were together looking after my mother. And this girl, Suman, is a very hard-working woman, looking after all the work of the house, and she is also a Baba lover. She goes into the Baba room and offers prayers in her own way, sometimes attends the center meetings, and she had Baba's darshan a number of times. She is with me now over about 12 years. Both are companions to each other in their common love for Baba. In this house, which was visited and blessed by Baba a number of times. She also looks after the prayer room, keeps it scrupulously clean. The same prayer room where Upasani Maharaj once used to come, then Baba used to come. Never did Baba come here without visiting and stepping into this room. And it was in this room where Upasani Maharaj once performed the Aarti of Meher Baba and pronounced Meher Baba as the avatar of the age. In one of the old issues of the Meher Baba Journal, I had given a small article to that effect, to say that Upasani Maharaj here in my presence, Upasani Maharaj was supposed to be Meher Baba's master, but it was he. You see, the disciple has to perform the Aarti of the master, but you see a very different thing here. The master performs the Aarti of Meher Baba and calls him the avatar of the age. I was astounded. Gulmai was standing nearby at that time, and we could not believe in the words uttered by Upasani Maharaj when he said that Meher Baba is the avatar of the age. Jai Baba.